In order to determine the number of credits required, you could have a look on the different study opportunities. I think Elzane might be able to assist a bit better, but to obtain credits, each module that you study accounts for some credits. I'm not entirely sure. Elzane, do you know how one obtains the number of credits needed?
Good morning, Laetitia. Can you hear me?
Yes, Elzane, I can hear you on this side. Elzane, you are also welcome to share your video with the students if you wish to do so. Elzane,
I see that there is a question regarding technical drawings. So yes, the answer is that there is some technical drawing skills required, most noticeably the measurement of the plans, and that is specifically for construction management as well as for quantity surveying. On the real estate side, it's very limited, the skills required to actually compose, to draw, to create the technical drawings. So this is not the main focus. The main focus is on interpreting the technical drawings. I hope I'm answering you, Njabulo.
Good morning, everybody. Laetitia, can you confirm
But you are
if
very
you can hear the
welcome to
audio?
ask more questions.
I see there's a few real estate questions.
If you did not do the technical drawings at school, yes, you will still be able to cope. Our lecturers will definitely explain in full detail how to interpret these drawings. To actually draw them, to create the drawings, that's not so important. So the main focus is on the interpretation, as I mentioned, and you will most definitely still be able to cope, because what will be required from you is to be able to understand and read the technical drawings. So in this case, your lecturers will show and teach you what the interpretation of the drawings are and how to understand the measurements on the drawings. A lot of this is also automated these days. The IT side of our environment is continuously expanding, and it's very nice to now work in platforms like BIM, which is a built environment management tool, and there you can actually create three-dimensional drawings as well. This is done by the architect students, not by us, but the interpretation thereof is done on our part. So they teach you how to connect to that and how to actually interpret this. I see that Elzane is now going to share the credits required for construction economics degree. So the question regarding how many credits are required, you will be able to see it coming up in the chat box now. Thank you, Professor Maraj, for highlighting that question. There you can now see in the chat box that you will be required to have 5 C languages and 5 C for maths, then a 4D for accounting or physical sciences, and then the total apps score required will be 30. Connie, does that answer your question? So while you are still maybe asking or preparing, oh, I see there's another question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is real estate? um, that's very difficult to answer. I think real estate, for me, real estate is really easy, but it's because I've been in the industry for so many years, and because I've been working in that industry and lecturing in that industry for a long time. So I would say, it's difficult to say. It depends on your skills, I suppose. It depends on your interest, and a lot of it depends on how hard you work. If you are going to attend your classes and be a diligent student, then it's very easy. Not so difficult at all. I think the key is actually to attend class, because a lot of the information is explained there, whether the classes are done online or whether they are done in the real world physically on campus. The classes are really very, very helpful. So students who attend these classes, they are actually the students who do very well. And we do know that sometimes students do not come to class, and they have a big new social life and so forth, and then some of them do struggle. So yes, I wouldn't say that it is that difficult, actually, Lungile. I think it is quite easy. Sorry, I meant the credits for when you finish your degree at the end of year 3, how many credits you need to complete that degree. I'm going to ask Elzane again to see if she can find for us the answer to that question, Gane. I think each module is roughly in the area of 8, 7, and some modules are year modules, so they attract a lot more credits. For example, I'll think of an example on the honors year level. One would have subjects that would attract about 11, even 12 credits. But let me see if Elzane could help us and assist in answering your question regarding the amount of credits required to complete your degree.
Good morning. Sorry, I apologize, ladies and gents. I had a bit of a technical issue, so I actually couldn't hear any of you. But anyway.
So let me get back to Lungile's question.
Yes.
How difficult is real estate? Oh, well, it's not really that difficult. I would say, yes, if you attend class and if you do keep up with your work, if you do your projects on time, then you would find it is challenging because it's new, but everything that is new is challenging to a degree. Is that not so? Are all the modules compulsory? No, you do have aspects where you can choose. There are some modules that are compulsory, obviously, but then there will also be 1 or 2 modules where you could make a choice whether you want to actually take that module or not. Most of the modules are compulsory because those are the modules required for completing the degree. But then there are a few where you could opt to either take the one or the other. Let me give you an example. If you do real estate, there would be an option for you to either select whether you would specialize in the retail environment, and that is a choice entirely up to you. If you do decide to do that, you could follow a specific extra short curriculum course that is added, and that is then instead of some of your other modules. So that is the only real decision that you need to make. And whether you do that or whether you just do the straight curriculum, follow the straight curriculum, your qualification at the end of the day remains the same.
Laetitia, was there a question about the total credits of the programs?
Yes, Professor, what we discussed there was when a student had not done technical drawings at school, he would still be able to do this module, as the lecturers will fully explain in great detail how to interpret the drawings. To create the drawings is not required, so that the focus is on the interpretation thereof. And yes, the answer is you will still, even though you did not do technical drawings at school, you will still be able to understand how to interpret the drawings. This will include building plans, and it will also include the three-dimensional BIM interpretations of, and that's Built Environment Management System interpretations of the technical drawings. So it's actually not very difficult. When you attend lectures, if you study hard and you attend your classes, then that is actually completely easy for you to understand. So even though you did not do the technical drawings at school, I'll give you an example. I myself did not, and yet I find it very easy to interpret because I did focus when my lecturers explained to me how to do that. So yes, it's not really that difficult. While we are waiting for more questions, maybe in general, I could just explain you are not fortunate now, and neither are us, to be able to go to campus to go and see how our building and the setup there is. But our building is on the South Campus. I see there is a question, how many real estate students are accepted per year? This varies. It depends on how many applications we do have. Often we make a selection of the number of students that apply. In general, we accept in the vicinity of 20, 30 real estate students per year. We do have quite a large facility, so our classrooms are big and our capacity is big, so it is possible for us to accept even more. At this point in time, the students in the first year start, and then some stay and complete their studies. There will be always a few students who do not complete their studies for various reasons. But in the end, most of our students graduate in the real estate side. And this year we will have roughly about 20 graduates. So in that vicinity, we do see more and more students signing up. It is becoming a more popular field of study as students start to learn about it and as students start to discover how many career opportunities it is afforded for you. So to answer your question, I think, yes, we could say in the vicinity of 20 to 30 students will be accepted for real estate. Of course, there is also construction economics, and then there is also quantity surveying. And these disciplines are a little bit different. They also have large capacities in the vicinity of 50, even 60 or 70 students are considered. And more or less at this point in time, in my third year even, I have about 55 quantity surveying students and about, I'd say, 25, 30 construction economic students. So there's quite a large number of students that are accepted because our department is capable and our classrooms, like I said, is large. From year to year, the number of people who apply obviously differ, but we are grateful to see that our numbers are increasing.
Laetitia, there's
I
another
can maybe
question
just
on real
talk a
estate.
little bit more about our campus setup. So on the South Campus, When you enter, you will first see the parking lot, and then after that, you will see the labs on your left-hand side. Then you will see a building, three-story building, and that is our construction economics building, building 5. That is where most of our classes take place. Our classroom facilities are quite substantial. We have lecture halls where we do classes, and we have outside spaces for our students where you can gather. It's quite a beautiful area there, and yes, I think you will find it very pleasing. We also have a lovely bridge linking us to the main campus. Um, and you can cross that bridge and go and buy lunch for yourself, walk around on the main campus. So we are very much connected with our main campus. It's just across the road from the main campus. So it's a lovely setup. It's a great environment to work in. At this point in time, we're doing everything online, and um, students of your age find that environment very easy. It is not difficult to navigate. As you could see today, you merely sign in, you come into the room, and there is your lecturer waiting for you. Then your slideshows are recorded, and you could listen to them again at some time in the future when you prepare for your tests or when you prepare for your assignments. So in general, I think the online environment is working very well for all of us. It was quite new and quite sudden, as with everybody in our country. This pandemic caught us by surprise, but we coped, and we actually are enjoying it. Our students report that they're enjoying it tremendously. The advantage is because everything is recorded, you could always revisit and you could always listen to your sessions again. You could make notes while listening to your sessions. You can ask questions because we do have live chat rooms where we meet. And then we sit and we talk, and sometimes our rooms are really small, just a selection, and then we all turn on our videos and we can share our screens, and we can see who is there and what they are busy with and so forth. And in other opportunities, then when the classes are large, as now, we turn off our screens, and we simply turn on our voice recorders and our microphones, and then we chat, we discuss the work, we answer questions. It's actually a very pleasant environment to work and to study in. Most of you in your age group will find that tremendously easy. What didn't you know before you got into this industry that you wish somebody had told you? Oh, okay, that's fascinating. I think I did not realize how many different job opportunities there are. For example, when I started my focus on in the real estate environment, I did not actually realize that the financial side was so vast. Um, my focus was actually on the market analysis side. So I came in as a market analyst into this environment. And I started by, well, actually, I came from a family where property development and architecture is quite prevalent. So I was quite familiar with that part of the environment and of that part of the real estate development world, also that part of the construction environment. So construction was not something new or strange or foreign to me. But when I started completing my studies and focusing on all the different aspects, I came to a realization that there's a whole financial world out there, the world of the facilities manager, the world of the fund manager. I did not, at that point in time, before I started, I did not even understand what a real estate investment trust is. It was very new, I might add. Real estate investment trust is something that came about only about 10 years ago when the markets opened and when institutional investors started developing portfolios, property portfolios, where one could purchase shares in these portfolios. And there's international REITs now in South Africa. We're actually very proud to be a member of the International REITs Foundation. So the financial side, that side I did not understand and know so well. I think then to answer your question even more, the other part that I did not realize maybe from the outset was that one could also be a facilities manager. So in this case, most of you are familiar with, for example, shopping centers or office parks. And at that point in time, I did not even realize that the people who manage these centers also study at our department. I did not even realize that. So later, as I continued my studies, then I started becoming aware of the role that they play. And yes, I think that was an eye opener for me too. So if you go, for example, to, let us say, Menlyn. Menlyn is managed by a lovely lady who studied in our department. She is the facilities manager of Menlyn. She and her team manage that entire shopping center. If you look at large office parks, think about, for example, Menlyn Main, which most of you will be quite familiar with, in Pretoria. A beautiful, huge precinct, tenanted by some of the most beautiful blue chip companies in our country. And that entire park is managed also by a facilities manager. So these are some of the areas that I didn't actually at that stage realize that that one could do when following this course of study. Now, obviously, I do. And now I lecture in that. So yes, to answer you, I think those were the things that I wished that I had known prior. But it was not too late. It's never too late. You know, you can listen and learn, and your field of focus expands, your horizons expand. I think some of my students, to them, something that is really pleasant is when they, their first time to actually go onto a construction site, to put on the hard hat, put on the safety vest, the hard shoes, the site boots, and to walk onto a construction site. They experience it tremendously joyful to be amongst the beautiful construction equipment, to actually see with your own eyes how the crane operators bring and lift huge amounts of steel, bring the rebar into place, how the concrete is poured. You know, these are things that is very enjoyable to many of the students. Other students again say that they prefer not the actual construction side. They prefer more the investment side. Would you like me to share my camera? Okay, I can do so. There we go. Are you able to see me there? Yes, there I am. All right. Okay, there is my camera. All right, let me answer the next question by Lungile. Would you say that real estate is a 7 to 5 job? No, Lungile. Real estate is not. Real estate is definitely not a 7 to 5 or 8 to 5 job. We work for companies. Your office hours might be 7 to 4, 7 to 5. But then you're always online. You would always have questions that pop up on your management team side. You know, yes, and there will be times that you have free time. Definitely, there will be weekends where you could spend your time with your friends and with your family. I know, for example, Friday afternoons is always a time in the construction industry where people take it easy. You know, in the construction industry, we don't really do meetings on Friday afternoons. That's more the time to collaborate with your peers, to maybe attend a site drive, to collaborate with your colleagues. So Friday afternoon is really normally a quiet time, away from the office, or even when you go to the office, it could be relaxed. It could be a relaxed time. But then, for example, my day typically with myself. I work for a company in Johannesburg, so in Franklin, and I would actually leave my house at 5:20 a.m. so that I could make it on the highway all the way to work and be ready because my company started at 6:30. So we opted to start early and then end our day a little bit earlier so that we could miss the traffic when going home. So typically my day would be, I would get up at 4:20, I would be in the car by 5:20, and then I would be at office, my first meeting starting at 6:30. Um, am I not clear? It is the video sharing that makes it not clear. I'm going to turn my video off. Sorry for that. There, that will be much better now. When the video recordings are on, then it becomes less clear. Lungile, are you able to hear me better now? That's right, yes. So on this platform, when we are a few people in the room and we share video, the video does not always display it has an impact on the quality of the sound. All right, so let me repeat then. Typical day in my life would be up at 4:20, in the car at 5:20, in my office at 6:30, starting with my first meeting. We had a fantastic boardroom. Well, we had many boardroom facilities, and there I would do project meetings. So I was a development manager for this particular company, and I had large projects that I actually did the development management for. So the professional team would come in. They were architects, quantity surveyors, construction managers. They would be all the engineers, electrical, electronic, IT. There would be security specialists. There would be landscape architects. There would be the IT specialists, designers, and so forth in the room. Sometimes there would be environmental consultants, heritage consultants, the attorneys would attend, and so forth. Then we would have a project meeting, and then followed by that meeting, we would maybe have a special design meeting to further improve on the design of a particular building, because we've developed large mixed-use precincts. So for those of you who are not familiar with this concept yet, a mixed-use precinct is a development where you have a different composition of buildings for different purposes. You would, for example, have offices. You will also have some retail. You will have areas where you could relax, outdoor spaces in the precinct that is shared by everybody. You might have some motor dealerships. You might have some showrooms and so forth in this precinct. And in that capacity, you would then have meetings for each particular aspect of that precinct. Okay, I see there's another question. How are you able to conclude that real estate was for you? Was something that you had always been passionate about? Yes, I would say I've always been passionate about the built environment. And real estate is I would say it's an umbrella for all the aspects of built environment. The same with construction economics and quantity surveying. This in real estate in particular, where I lecture, my colleague Elzane, she lectures more in the quantity surveying side, and then both of us also participate in construction management side. But it is an umbrella profession. So when you become a real estate student and you qualify at the end of your course, like you saw in the presentation, there are so many different careers that you are able to follow that it's actually very diverse. And the nice thing is that there is space for everybody. Some people and some of my students, they do not like the idea of dusty side boots at all. They prefer to be fancy suit, sharp shoes. They enjoy an environment where they can sit in a nice fancy office in Sandton and have meetings in a beautiful closed environment like that. And they focus on the financial aspects, like I mentioned, for example, on quantity surveying side, and people who prefer in the real estate discipline to focus on the financial. So the fund managers, the asset managers, these are people who prefer that type of office environment. They do come to site, but very seldom. During your training years, you will go to site, you will go to boardrooms, you will be able to see how each aspect of our world operates. And there you will be able to see, where is my niche? Where am I most comfortable? what is going to be good for me? What is my dream and what is my vision and where do I want to see myself? I think one of the most fulfilling aspects of real estate, and the part that I find most pleasing, is when you actually have completed a project. Let us say it's end of the year. We are now maybe November, early December, and you are busy wrapping up all the aspects of your work before the construction industry closes, because we have a very long holiday in the construction industry. We always close roughly on the 15th of December, and we then return in the second week of January, let us say around between the 8th and the 10th, the 12th of January. So we almost have a full month holiday in December. Now, before this holiday commences, it is extremely satisfying to walk through the projects that you did that year, to actually think about, here I stood 2 years ago, and it was just a piece of open land. And now here is a mom pushing a pram with a baby in the pram. There is somebody walking their dog. There is somebody jogging in a residential precinct. It is extremely fulfilling to see I have built all these houses, not myself with my own two hands, obviously, but I managed the process. I was the person managing this entire property development, right from the design stage all the way through the construction phases. And with a grand opening, the media was there, the press came, and it was so lovely to actually see how this project started out of nothing and how it then came about, how it started. The first part that you will be able to see on site is you will go to what we call a sod turning function. Now, on this day, we all gather on site, and the main project manager, he or she will be there, and they will have a spade, and they will stick the spade into the ground, into the soil, and they will take out a piece of soil to show, here we are now breaking ground. Today we are commencing with the start of this wonderful project. And there will be nothing other than the felt and a piece of soil, and this little ceremony will take place. It's a beautiful tradition in our industry to turn the first sod. Then we hand over the site to the main contractor, and the main contractor comes on site, and now you, from the real estate side or from the construction economic side, from the property developer side, you will then manage that main contractor. So the main contractor will come on site and the bulk earthworks will commence. This is where you see all the exciting yellow equipment come onto site, the big caterpillars, the big bell tippers, the big earth-moving equipment such as TLBs, such as excavators and bulldozers, and they start. And the process commences, and they clear the site and they start digging. They dig down for the foundations, or they dig down to form, for example, the basements. As you could see on that video, you could see a piece of land that was excavated, and now the construction commences. So now the concrete mixers come, and the concrete starts getting poured, and they lay the rebar, the steel that actually strengthens the structural integrity of that building. So your engineers will be visiting the site regularly. You will have site meetings where you will stand with your project team to inspect the rebar, to inspect the tensile strength of the steel, to inspect the durability of the concrete. And our industry is very, very focused on safety, of course, and on integrity. So the structural engineer will be there, design engineers will be there, your HVAC, the side of the development that actually focuses on the mechanical engineering. This is the air conditioning, the ventilation, and so forth. They will be there. They will do site inspections with you. They will detail all this for you. Now, this is very lovely because although you did not study engineering yourself, you employ the engineer, and they are there and they take responsibility for their part of the project. Then we commence and the construction proceeds. Now the site is teeming with builders, bricklayers, and assistants and painters, and the facade of the building starts coming up. Some buildings have the most beautiful glass facades, the shiny diamond type buildings. Other buildings are more softer. They are their facades, for example, have brick. They have painted surfaces. They have spandrel panels. They have exteriors and shop fronts that are very, very soft on the eye. And that's incorporated then into the landscaping that then starts. So our landscape architects come on board. They design the look and feel of the green, soft environment, of the paved, hard environment, and all these aspects then start coming into the project. The construction proceeds and the buildings come up and the landscaping commences, and quite soon it actually takes very, very, very short to construct even very large buildings. Let me give you an example. One of the last projects that I worked on in the industry was Loftus Park. That entire construction was not more than 2 years. So from the day we turned the sod to the grand opening, less than 2 years. There are 5 huge office towers there. There are these towers are about 5, 6, up to 9 stories high. There's a retail component, many different shops. There's a beautiful open air piazza, fountains, places where children can play, beautiful sculptures. Landscaping is done fantastically. We even have grass, and you can imagine now there are 2 stories of underground parking below that grass surface. So it's fascinating. How do you design a structure where you could park underneath, where you could have cars underneath, and then on top you have soft landscaping? So that is fascinating as well. But yes, if there are any more questions, please do fire away. I'm just chatting here to entertain you.
Hello.
We see Emily has just joined. Welcome, Emily.
How are you? Is everyone fine? Hello.
Yes, Emily, we're all good here.
Are you finished with your question and answer session? You done?
We were just waiting for if there were any more questions.
If there were more, yeah. But I saw
Yes.
architecture is also finished. But thank you so much, Elzane, Laetitia. I think it went very well. Naomi, is Lungile one of the students?
You're very, very welcome to still ask questions. We are still here.
Thank you
So
so
if
much.
there's
I really
anything
appreciate it.
specific that you're interested in.
Who, me? Hello?
Lingile,
Hi,
I
Emily.
still see you.
I,
Can you hear me?
Maybe there's something that you would like to ask.
I just
Emily,
came, I know
can
I
you
just
hear
came,
me?
yes, I can hear you. I just came to say thank you so much for everything.
Naomi,
I
I
think
can
it
see
went,
you there.
I think it went well. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for everything. I think I'm gonna type. It looks like my mic is a problem.
Laetitia, can you hear me? Laetitia, can you hear me?
Are you still able to hear me, everybody? Elzane, I think it's just you and myself and Naomi that is still in the session.
Laetitia, can
Thank
you
you.
hear me?
Yes,
Naomi,
yes,
can
I
you hear
cannot
me?
hear
Yes,
you.
we can hear you.
I'm not
I
able to
think
hear you.
we
I am
are.
able to hear the clicks, but I am not able to hear questions.
Okay, I think there's a bit of an audio issue, but it seems that all the students have answered and there's no students left anymore. So should we can we wrap up? Let me type it rather.
I actually don't know why I can't hear you. I do see that all our students have now left. Yes. Emily, could you confirm? Oh, Emily's also left. Naomi, you're also a moderator.
Yes. Should I type or can you hear me? Okay, let me just type.
Elzane, I do think we could wrap up. What do you think? Naomi, yes, I hear you. The session is supposed to be for an hour. And we started at 10:45, did we not? So yes, 11:45 is when we actually do wrap up. Thank you.